Hey guys, it's GameFace here and welcome back to another FIFA 18 information video, basically about the gameplay on the beta. Now, of course, we all know that the gameplay on the beta can change and will change probably, but I'm going to be talking about it currently the way that it is at the moment and what we might expect in the full game, in the demo and those sort of things. You guys seem to really enjoy the last information videos I've done. I've done two so far, one of which was inside information, so it's about the game mode in general, career mode in general, on the beta and what you can expect and all the different new features and things, or the one new feature basically. And I also did one on the club budgets as well, so if you haven't seen those videos you can go check them out on the channel as well. But before we get into today's video, if we could try and 100 likes, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the channel or just haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button as well down below. That'd be absolutely fantastic. I decided to do another information video for you guys, basically on the gameplay solely. There will be some little extra information bits at the end of this video as well, not about the gameplay, but about the game mode in general that I've picked up now. I've played it a little bit more, so keep tuned for that as well, and let's crack on with today's video. Thank you all so much for the support on those other information videos that I've done as well recently. Absolutely incredible, so thank you all so much. Let's crack on. We're talking a little bit about the gameplay and what it is currently like on the beta. So first of all, two things I've noticed that are very, very overpowered already on the beta. Again, this is subject to change, so it's likely that it might change during the beta, it might change for the demo, it might change for the full game, it might not change at all, we'll wait and see. But two things I've noticed that are very overpowered so far on the gameplay: long shots and free kicks. Now, if you watch my channel and you've seen my career mode, you know I'm not very good at free kicks. I generally don't score that many at all. I've had 2 free kicks, I've scored both of them so far, albeit with Kevin De Bruyne and Yaya Toure, but still, they are pretty easy to score, even for myself, who, like I say, not very good at free kicks. They are very overpowered, I've noticed that, and it might well be something that they change, it might be something that they actually keep in and think that it's necessary to make it a little bit easier to score from free kicks this year, but it has definitely been simplified. It's much easier to get it up and over the wall and in the back of the net. I've noticed that. Also, long shots as well, that's been massively improved and overpowered, some would say, in fact, to the point where you can pretty much just shoot from anywhere, and there's a very good chance that it's going to be on target, and sometimes it'll be back in the back of the net as well. I've scored quite a few good long shots so far as well, and you can pretty much do it with any decent long shot player, to be honest. So long shots are definitely overpowered, and you don't even have to have a long shot player, you can just hit it from anywhere, and sometimes it will find the back of the net. I have noticed that needs to be toned down a little, I think, because sometimes you will just see strikes from long distances and they're going to go in the back of the net. That needs to be obviously tweaked, I think. Maybe it's the goalkeepers that they need to tweak. I don't know whether it's the long shots or the goalkeepers. It's difficult to tell, but certainly the long shots do seem to be very overpowered at the moment. Also, something I've been quite impressed with, and I have kind of had a go at the gameplay in one of my first videos I did on the beta, but actually I've kind of started to like the beta a little bit more as I've played it more. One thing I have been quite impressed with is the touches, the ball control of the players. I noticed on the last few FIFAs, sometimes you see some really poor touches from like really good players. You might see Kevin De Bruyne do a bad first touch and give away the ball. You don't really see that anymore. The control is very tight, it's very close to the body, and the control of the ball, the first touch is very, very good. Also, when you do fake shots now, it's more of a better turn, and the control of the ball is much better when you do fake shots. So those sort of things I think have been massively improved for the beta. Again, subject to change, as I will say throughout this video, but certainly the first touches, the ball control looks much better than what I've seen. If you're someone that likes to play long passes and do like diagonal passes and things, then the touches to bring down the ball is so much better, and it'll be much easier for you to bring down the ball, get control and play another pass. That's been quite impressive. I've seen a lot of that and I've used that a lot, and the touches are much, much better for close control play. Another thing I've noticed is that the younger players are actually technically better than they were on the last FIFA. And what I mean by that is, again, the ball control seems to be much better, the passing seems to be a bit more accurate, the shooting seems to be a little bit sharper, and okay, if they're 50 or 60 overall, you're not expecting much, but actually, on past FIFAs, you used to get into a situation where this is a footballer that could barely kick a ball, and you don't have that anymore. That's very good. Hopefully that stays for the full game. I know when you've had like youth players in the past, like 50 overall, 55 overall, you're very reluctant to put them in a team because they can barely kick a ball. It's not like that anymore. I've played with a few of the Man City youngsters. The likes of Foden is obviously someone that's a little bit better than these sort of players I'm on about. I have played with a couple of guys that are about 59 overall, early 50s as well, and some of those players are actually quite good and are okay to play in game. Of course, you're not going to get the finishes of someone like a Sergio Aguero or a Sanchez or or whoever you have going forward, but you do actually have some pretty okay players now, and I'd feel more relaxed about putting a player in that maybe you don't usually play, or maybe that's 50 overall or whatever. I'd feel more relaxed about it because the control of the ball seems to be better, and also they can kind of shoot a little bit better now as well. So those sort of things have been improved, been made more realistic as well, because when do you see a young player get chucked into a team and not be able to kick a ball properly? Like, those sort of things you don't see in real life. They can kick a ball, they can pass to the person next to them pretty well, but on previous FIFAs I kind of felt like sometimes that was a little bit tricky to do. They have massively changed that, they've improved that I think as well in the gameplay, and I think that was quite noticeable. Also, the passing seems to be quite slick as well, so when you're in game now you can actually have a little arrow around your player and you can see where you're directing the pass to. That might well be something you can switch off, in fact you probably can, but it seems it's quite subtle, it's not particularly noticeable at all, but you do have a little arrow now on the pitch that kind of just shows where you're passing the ball to your teammates. That's quite helpful, and the passes seem to be much slicker across the ground, get there a little bit faster, more accurate as well, which I've noticed. So it does seems like things have improved. Again, once feedback has been given on the beta, I'd expect some of these things to be tweaked a little bit, maybe made even better, or sometimes they'll be made worse. It really depends, but certainly the passing is much slicker, and I have been quite impressed with that. Another thing I've been impressed with is the stamina of players. Now, I've obviously played career mode a little bit on FIFA 18 beta on the career mode that I was given, and you obviously play, you know, 5 games maybe in 2 weeks or something like that, and I've noticed that players actually recover in 3 or 4 days' time pretty well enough actually to play another game midweek. So I've noticed that seems to be quite impressive. Players that are on sort of 70 and mid-70s sort of stamina seem to recover pretty well going into a midweek game. I think they've tweaked that slightly. It does seem to be a little bit different to what I've noticed on FIFA 17 career mode, where players are actually recovering much better now. So hopefully they keep that for FIFA 18, the full release. I've certainly noticed it on the beta, and I am quite impressed with that. It does seem like they have made it so that when you do have a lot of fixtures, you do have some sort of recovery, and a better recovery than what we've seen in previous years. Now, this is the part of the video where I'm going to stop talking as much about the gameplay now, and I'm going to talk about little features that I didn't include in the first video that I talked about. So we are going to get onto some of the smaller details, some of the small things that you guys have been asking me about, so I can respond to them properly. First of all, a lot of people have been asking about the player career mode. What's happening with that? Not a lot, probably is probably the best way to put it. I've not played it properly. I've opened up a save, I've sort of had a little browse, I've signed for a different club. Yeah, it's not really changed. They've brought in the news section, which has been brought on also in the manager career mode as well. They've got the fancy new news section, but other than that, I can't see any differences, to be honest. I've not played a game with them, I'll be completely honest. I've not really gone that far, but it doesn't seem like there's been much change at all. When you sign for a new club, there's no cutscene or anything like that. You literally just sign the contract as we have in previous years. So nothing too special with player career modes. If they were to introduce something a little bit better, then that would obviously be very good, but to be honest, I can't see it. I would have thought they'd include it in the beta if that was going to be the case. So no real changes to player career mode. Personally, I don't really mind. I don't really play player career mode, but I know a lot of you guys are big fans of it and will be a little bit gutted about that. Now moving on to some other features as well. You can now sign players outside of the transfer window. So you can sign pre-contract agreements, or what they're still called. You don't have to have 10 months left on your contract, or however long, 11 months, 12 months, whatever. You don't have to have that. As soon as the window closes, you can receive offers from other clubs for your players, and you can put in offers for other players as well. So for example, on my Man City career mode, we just finished the summer transfer window, I got in a bid for Gundogan on the 1st of September. It was from Barcelona or Bayern Munich, whoever, and they put in a bid for him, and I chose obviously to reject it, but if I had accepted it, then I'd have got that amount of money in January when the window reopens, and Gundogan would have left in January. So you can receive bids like that outside of the transfer window. You can also put in bids like that as well. So it works exactly the same. You put in the bid, and once the contract's been agreed and everything, you'll be able to sign him and you get that player in January. The same would happen if you were to do that sort of thing in January. You'd get the player in summer as well. So those sort of things happen now. You can agree contracts outside of the window, which I really like. I think that's a good addition, and they have certainly revamped the transfer system quite nicely. No buyback clauses. A lot of people asking about that. There's no buyback clauses at all. You have sell-on clauses, you've got release clauses, you've got bonuses, and you've got signing-on fees. no buyback clauses, which seemed the obvious thing that they'd missed out, to be totally honest. I don't know why they've included maybe signing on fees, probably not really needed, to be honest. Bonuses, alright, are a nice little feature. Signing on fees, not so much really. I'd rather have them had buyback options. If they're not on there, we'll have to get over it, and maybe it's something that they add further down the line. But a little bit gutted about that. Release clauses as well, I should also mention, have been included so that you do have release clauses available on some players when you start a career mode. It doesn't mean that no players have release clauses. When you start a career mode, there are release clauses on players, which is good to see. For example, Mbappe, he had a £40 million release clause on him. Players like Semedo, the one that's at Barcelona now, the right back, his was about £22 million. He had a release clause. You can choose to just pay that release clause outright, or you can try and negotiate an offer like you would normally. So that's quite cool. I quite like that. But again, you know, I would have liked to have seen a buyback option. Okay, now on to talking a little bit about youth players and youth academy. Now, this is something, again, I was asked quite a lot about, and to be honest, there hasn't been any major changes. This is a slight change that I've noticed. And all it is when you get a scout report back on players, and when you promote them into your youth academy, or sign them up onto your youth academy, the next stage is obviously to put them into your senior team. Now, when you do that, usually you'd offer them a contract, maybe a 3-year deal, maybe they want £500 a week. You no longer do that. Once they're in your youth academy, you click to promote them to your senior team. That is all you're doing. It's called, you just promote them, and there's no signing a contract, nothing like that. Maybe that's all done externally by the club or whatever, but you don't have any contract, you don't have any say in the contract negotiations anymore on that, which I think is a little bit strange. I don't know what the standard contract offer is, but you no longer have any input into it. So that seems a little bit strange to remove that input. Now you're literally promoting them from the youth academy into the senior team. There's no contract offer. The contract offer, I suppose, might well be made when they sign into the youth academy from the scout report. So I'm not really too sure about that one. It does seem a little bit strange. Rather than having a contract, you're literally just promoting them now, which seems a little bit different, and also leads me on to saying that I was very disappointed not to see any proper youth teams, like an under-23s team, under-21s, whatever. Very disappointed not to have that, as were many of you guys as well. Something that has been tweaked ever so slightly, and again, is a very, very small feature, and you can tell that I'm really grasping at straws when I'm talking about these sort of features. We have new ways of changing kit numbers, or there's a new little interface for changing kit numbers. Yeah, I know, big wow. But the way that you now do it is, it comes up on the screen, it's got a little picture of the kit, it's got the number on it as well. You scroll across, it tells you underneath what player currently has that number, and it also tells you what number that player will then have if you nick their number, if that makes sense. So it's been improved. Obviously before it was just a long list. You went down and you kind of changed the numbers. You didn't know whose number you were nicking unless you went through them and checked. Now it comes up and tells you who's got that number right now, and what will happen to their number if you choose to nick it, basically. So there has been an improvement in that sense. Again, it's a very small added feature, and it's a very, very small improvement. That's in the squad hub as well, so you can do that sort of thing in the squad hub, which I think is quite an interesting sort of area of career mode. The squad hub, the transfer hub. Transfer hub, don't even get me started on the fact that you have to shortlist every player before being able to put in a bid. Really, really strange. Don't get me started on that, but the squad hub is actually, I think, quite good. It looks pretty professional, looks very nice. You have the little in-game version of your player on the right-hand side, which I mentioned in the first video. So very, very impressed with that. And also in there, you can negotiate new contracts now as well. The way this works is you click on the player wants to negotiate a contract, so you go over to negotiate a contract, and you get the cutscene. So you do get a cutscene for negotiating contracts, and basically what happens is you sat there with the agent and with the player as well. You sit there and you obviously negotiate what sort of squad role they want and what sort of contract they want. It's no longer a contract extension though. This is just a whole new contract. So if they're already on a 2-year deal and you go into contract negotiations, you offer them a 3-year deal, then they will have a 3-year contract. It's not an extra 3 years. It wouldn't be a 5-year deal. You can actually offer them a contract that's less. So if they're already on a 3-year contract, then you could go into the contract negotiations and offer them a 2-year contract, for example, in which case it's not an extension on there anymore. So it's literally coming up with a whole new contract. You can do a release clause as well in the contract negotiations. You come up with a new squad role in there as well, obviously different wages and that sort of thing. And by the way, the agents really, really do want as much money as possible for their players. There's a lot of negotiations, especially when you're signing players. Their agents really want as much money as possible, trust me. When you want to adjust their wage, they then start asking asking for more sign-on fees, more bonuses, these sort of things. So there's a real balance between how much wage you want to pay, how much bonuses you want to give out, signing-on fees, these sort of things. The bonuses are pretty good, to be honest. I've been very impressed with them. Signing-on fees are a nice little feature. Again, not so necessary, I don't think, but the bonuses do look pretty good. You can get clean sheet bonuses, goal bonuses, and appearances as well. But I think the highest that you can have of all three of those is 25. You can't go any further than that, I don't think. Also, speaking about the cutscenes, what I was unaware of, and what one of you guys actually told me in the comments, I think the first video, was you can actually skip the cutscenes. Thank God for that, because I tell you what, they do drag on sometimes, especially when you're trying to sign several players. You can get past and skip the cutscenes by just holding X down. That gets you to the next stage of negotiations each time, which is quite good, and I'm glad that someone has told me about that feature, because I was literally just sat there just waiting so long for them to stop talking. And by the way, there's no audio for when they talk. That's obviously not great. You just get little subtitles at the bottom. There's no audio whatsoever. Of course, that'd be difficult to be able to incorporate that for every player name, but yeah, that's something that doesn't look particularly great on the game, but you can skip it, luckily, by holding down X. That's on the Xbox, of course. And finally, I'm going to get onto player drills and training drills, something that has been asked again a lot about in previous videos. Now, the tweaks on these have not been as big as I'd hoped. The only thing that's been introduced, literally the only thing, is just new drills. So there's new drills now, they've got different names, they probably sound a little bit better than in previous FIFAs, to be honest, but they train exactly the same things. There's nothing new about what they train, it's all the same, just they literally change the training drills and change the names of them and that sort of thing. So, very disappointing, no change to position, no ability to do any of that sort of thing, sadly. Pretty standard sort of changes. I will hopefully find out a little bit more about Ultimate Team side of things as well if you guys are interested. I believe that they open up the beta for, on all modes, I think, towards the end of the beta, or at least they have done on previous FIFAs anyway. So hopefully that happens again. I'll be able to bring you some information on the Ultimate Team beta as well. Thank you all so much for watching today's video, guys. I really do appreciate all the support on the last two videos that I did as well. They're absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for that. If we could try to 100 likes, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the channel or maybe just haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button as well down below, and that'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.